experiential education, you've said, is like fiction is your favorite.
It's my second favorite because, and this is kind of, this is a little bit of a diversion, but since this is Almanac, right? I think this is kind of a know yourself thing, and teaching isn't probably my best thing when it's defined a certain way. The idea of like working one-on-one with somebody, it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of not my wheelhouse. I think it's more yours, certainly your wife's, she's not involved in the company, but I do like broadcast education or being in person. Like when I'm in person with somebody, or when I'm
broadcast
like
education.
Podcast,
I like that.
Broadcast education, or performing is the other way to put it, is in my wheelhouse, and I really enjoy it. And I think that because these experiential education is, I think at least the way we've been defining it is, you are in person. It's an event. It's not just here's a course. Here's a thing. It speaks to me on a couple levels. It's like we're able to deliver the value, but also it's just super fun.
Well, right, and I think that's exactly it. You have to think, how do you learn? And I think when you look at a lot of the knowledge that's available, online, a lot of it's not. Like you look at Udemy courses or you look at info products, and it's not really the way people learn. Like I picked up a lot of good things. Like I really enjoyed the James Patterson master's class, and I bought the Aaron Sorkin one. Haven't gone through that yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I bought a lot of information products in the last 8 years, right? Because it's my whole smarter, faster thing. Like I want to get smarter, faster, so I'm willing to pay for information. But a lot of the information is just that, it's information. And we have a chance to educate our community in like a really significant way. But we had to ask ourselves, is that the way we would learn? Because why teach people in a way that we wouldn't learn, right? We know a better method, so let's do a better method, even if it's more expensive in our time and money, which it clearly is. Otherwise, everybody would do it the right way, right? So what do we do to make that happen? How do we articulate that out? And we started at the very top level and said, okay, well, if we're going to create courses, let's create them in person. Let's do them with a small group first. Let's figure out what we need to learn. So like in February, we're going to do a podcast retreat where we figure out our podcast, and we're doing that for us, and anybody who wants to join us can join us, a small group of people, but we'll also turn that into something that can help a bigger group later. And so we just think about it at every single level, but it's not just offering other work retreats. And we have work retreats planned throughout the year that are with really cool people, where again, we want to learn a specific certain thing. So let's figure that out, and then on and on. But how do we make that better, and how do we do it for ourselves? So it's not just how do we create these things for for our people, but how do we invest in ourselves? So we're going to the Robert McKee Story Conference in March, which is super exciting. We're going to continue to look for masterminds that we can go to, both apart and together, to really help our network and that kind of thing. So it's not just what do we offer our community, but what do we pay for ourselves? What kind of knowledge base do we want to grow?
So we're looking at a few offerings. We're saying, the summit is certainly experiential education. The work retreats, which are small group, high value, and high ticket, high tier courses, or not courses, but experiences like 2-day events where you come in and you're together. And then also masterminds are not really. Stone Table's its own thing.
Yeah, but it is that too. It's like every time we have a chance to, we really believe
it's a thing. Make it an experience. You remember more when there are sort of anchors to your learning.
That's exactly it. We're trying to anchor education with memory because it just becomes more tangible. You remember things. You remember them faster. You can build on your abilities faster, and that's really important. So even with things like our courses, we're thinking, how can we do things that make them better than the average Udemy course? How can we bring it into the real world and really elevate people's experience? So, and fortunately, we've done a lot of work with StoryShop. So, StoryShop is going to be a part of our teaching, and we can guide people to use things in a certain way so that they establish patterns and can, execute on the things they learn, because it's not just about sitting there and, bracing yourself for the fire hose of information that is so easy to get online. It's about what do you do with every single drop of water. And I think that if we put a lot more mind into crafting those experiences for the people that we're trying to educate, we're going to have a lot better results with them. But we also have to do that for ourselves. So the podcast retreat is a really good example, because there's no way we're filling that thing, right? But we had to say, well, whether we fill it or not, is it worth investing in ourselves? Same thing with the avalanche. We invested in ourselves. We said, okay, well, we're trying to educate ourselves. We're trying to plan for ourselves. We're trying to, figure this out. So we need to invest as a company in getting us all together, because we're all going to remember that forever. Like, that was a really special thing. And we were educating ourselves and educating each other and anchoring it in memory. So it's really important as a company that we don't just have big ideas, we execute them internally too. And we say, look, if we're saying that it's important for other people to invest in their own education in this way, we need to be able to do it as a company as well.
Agreed.